New York shut down pretty fast, so there was really nothing to do and nowhere to go. April arrived, and the first Thursday of April, sort of week by week, rehearsal space I kept getting emails. The studio's closed, your rehearsal space is canceled, it's canceled. And then suddenly all the rehearsal space that I had booked up for the whole month of April and May, everything was just canceled.
So again, this just to sort of get everybody on the same page contextually, this little solo began about a week and a half after I had my knee injury and I was on crutches and really just feeling like every day. I mean, it's sort of the same emotions that I feel like all of us are now dealing with during this like unknown pandemic, where like feeling super high, super low, super in control, defeated, just like all of those kinds of emotions.
And using my thoughts and my images and my views and what I was feeling inside to sort of make stationary dance. And so Faces of Quarantine came out of that because I didn't really know how to dance in my home yet. And so sort of sitting in a chair facing the computer, developing narrative story related to facial expressions or how to sort of exit and enter the camera, how to create relationships with the viewer by acknowledging the camera or ignoring the camera or leaving the view and all those sorts of things. It was sort of interesting because I was kind of learning the technology as I was acclimating to being quarantined at home and having limitations in my own physical body. So it was kind of a cool opportunity to use Zoom as a platform to make dance, work with the technology, explore narrative story, emotion, things that I was journaling about.
Start with our eyes closed. And I'm going to come a little bit closer just so Rob and Lacey, you can see this sort of this kind of opening image. We're calling it a nuzzle. So it's just the tiniest little bit of caressing, or, you know, you can really feel each like millimeter of action and movement.
While we talked about stuff that I was writing or stuff that I was reflecting about, we also talked about what they were feeling and what they were going through. And so we spent a lot of time talking in the first bunch of weeks of those rehearsals at home. And I remember sort of popping on the Zoom and just kind of being like, how's everybody doing? You know, and after a while that question kind of became like, no news is no news is no news. The same way that when I would talk to people in my personal circle or my mom or someone and they'd say, so, you know, what's happening? And I'm like, nothing is happening.
So we have 4 variations of this nuzzling idea. So the first is what we just described, which is eyes are closed, softening, very gentle, very tranquil. It's not this quick, but just to talk us through, which we just did in a slower fashion. And then you sort of eyes adjust and you wake up and you're looking down stage left. Second set, we go a little bit deeper. So I allow the nuzzle to get a little bit stronger, just a little bit. And I have the same pathway that's happening, the same tracing. And this time the wake up is a little bit more aggressive.
We started making these kind of stationary studies related to various emotions and sort of journaling storylines and things like that. And then once a couple of weeks passed and I feel like I started to get more comfortable with moving my body again and more holistically, my leg was starting, I was sort of starting to learn my new body with limitations, but also beginning to trust that I could take more risk and move more fully. And so I started developing some phrase work inside of our classes and our community classes that happen before we start rehearsal. And I started thinking about how, though I don't have a lot of space, like dimensions, that I have a lot of of height above me, and I have a whole range of the space three-dimensionally that's around me. And so I started making some pretty stationary but very full and very physical and athletic phrases.
There's no wake up for this one, and you fall forward immediately. And then we have this kind of toreador power stance. So I fall forward, and this time my foot is on the walk, like in releve, and my elbow is lifted, and I'm sitting up super straight and tall. My elbow and my thigh parallel to the downstage right.
At the same time, I was learning how to use technology in my house, using Zoom as a platform to be making dance and to engage with learners, but I was also relearning my own body and also learning what it was like to live in a pandemic. And so like all of that was sort of coming together to inspire, not even to inspire, but maybe to inform how I was making material for class and for rehearsal and how I was communicating that material. The things that I always really care about suddenly didn't really matter. And it was about plugging ahead and encountering newness and being okay with that and working with the challenges of technology or the challenges of our internal selves at this moment.